So Stephen A. Smith did a piece on Stephen A. Smith's YouTube channel. Go check it out. If you haven't subscribed to Stephen A. Smith's channel, I suggest you do so. And everyone was asking me what was my thoughts and opinions about Stephen A. Smith talking about the recent events concerning Skip Bayless. Now, if you've been living under a rock, allow your boy to explain. A couple of days ago, the news broke out that Skip Bayless will no longer be working at Fox Sports 1, and his last official show with Undisputed will be this summer. Now, Undisputed will still continue on without the services of Skip Bayless, and it's unclear what they're going to be doing to the show, after it comes back in the fall, or who's going to be the host, and this, that, and the third. We'll do another video about that, another time, another date. So everyone's been talking about it. Marcellus Wiley has talked about the recent announcement that Skip Bayless is leaving the network or got fired, or however y'all want to take it. As well as TYT Sports, a lot of content creators on YouTube. And to me, I've been watching and listening and paying attention to a lot of people's opinions and their thoughts on the recent news about Skip Bayless. And I do feel like a lot of it is, to me, taking it a little bit too personal. I think a lot of people like TYT Sports, Marcellus Wiley, on and off, was a little bit too emotional about it, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. But I just want to touch base on what Stephen A. Smith said about Skip Bayless. Now, he was very professional, he was very cordial, and very friendly. He didn't come off as an "I told you so," or emotional about it, or took it personal. Clearly, you can tell there's a mutual respect for Stephen A. Smith as well as Skip Bayless. They are friends. I don't think they are as close as they once were when they used to work together at ESPN. But people, you have to realize, let's just be realistic, okay? Stephen A. Smith lives out in the East Coast, and Skip Bayless lives out in the West Coast, okay? And I don't care, what type of friendship that you have with whoever. If you guys live so far apart and you don't get to see each other on a regular basis, and the only type of communication that you have is through phone calls and texts, or maybe FaceTiming or emails or whatever, it's not, that friendship is going to change over time. And you can clearly tell that they have a mutual respect for one another, and they are friends. I don't know if they are close friends, but they are friends. And Stephen A. Smith talked about, and I even mentioned this on this very same channel, and I'm so glad Stephen A. Smith touched base on what I've been saying, but Stephen A. Smith has always said this, okay? And he said that if it wasn't for Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith wouldn't be the Stephen A. Smith that we see today. Stephen A. Smith would not be getting these opportunities if it wasn't for a Skip Bayless. And Stephen A. Smith says, I understand what Skip Bayless is going through because I went through that. That's what Stephen A. Smith said. And I feel like people don't add the component of history when they are talking about a person or personality. Okay? Just history, recent history, past tense history, whatever. People seem to forget that Stephen A. Smith was bouncing from job to job. He got let go of from Fox Sports, from Fox Sports 1, from ESPN multiple times. People seem to forget that Stephen A. Smith was trying to get into television. He started off on a show called The Best Damn Sports Show, period, with Tom Arnold, John Solly. I forgot the other personalities that they had on that show. But he was a major contributor of that show, and he was trying to get a foot into that show. And he was bouncing from radio stations, from networks, because everyone would have the same opinion about Stephen A. Smith. Oh, he's a loudmouth. He's, he clashes with a lot of personalities on set. A lot of people don't want to come to the show because of this loudmouth Stephen A. Smith. It was one point they used to call Stephen A. Smith Screaming A. Smith. People seem to forget all this stuff, including TYT Sports. And if it wasn't for Skip Bayless seeing the potential of a Stephen A. Smith, if it wasn't for Skip Bayless that went to bat to get the powers that be at ESPN to hire Stephen A. Smith, ESPN should be thanking their lucky stars, because Skip Bayless was the only one in the room that saw the potential and saw what Stephen A. Smith could ultimately become. Okay? Now, I'm not going to sit up here and say Skip Bayless saw all of this. Him in Hollywood, doing the soap thing, late night talk show. But he saw the potential in Stephen A. Smith. He saw the talent resonate from Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith thanked Skip Bayless. He also said in this very same piece that Skip Bayless also saw Shannon Sharpe, the potential of Shannon Sharpe, when the executives at Fox Sports 1 wanted him to pair up with someone similar to Skip Bayless. And Skip Bayless says, no, I want Shannon Sharpe. He went to bat for Shannon Sharpe. And people also forget, no one puts history in a component or in their pieces or in their content, but Shannon Sharpe was bouncing around trying to get into where he can fit in. He got let go of at CBS Sports. He went to the NFL Network, did a few things at the NFL Network. No one saw the potential of Shannon Sharpe, the talent of Shannon Sharpe, the interview skills of Shannon Sharpe. It gotten so bad for Shannon Sharpe, he was doing Twitch. And now, if it wasn't for Skip Bayless, we wouldn't see the Shannon Sharpe that we see today. And I'm pretty sure Shannon Sharpe, when he talks about it, he's going to be on the same lines of Stephen A. Smith. And he's going to say the same thing what Stephen A. Smith said. Hey, look, we didn't agree on a lot of things. And we didn't agree on certain things that we talked about. But at the end of the day, we still had a relationship with Skip Bayless. And if it wasn't for Skip Bayless, I wouldn't get the opportunities that I'm getting now. Okay? So I'm glad, and a lot of people call Stephen A. Smith, he does coonery behavior or coonery activity, which is so disrespectful. A lot of people don't also give Stephen A. Smith his credit. Stephen A. Smith, with open arms, welcomes all different types of personalities. And he has a connection with a lot of people that are trying to establish themselves through the door. And it's just a mutual respect thing, okay? And he just passing the baton like, Skip Bayless passed it to him. Now, when I talk about TYT Sports, when I talk about Marcellus Wiley, when I talk about all these other people giving you a summary of Skip Bayless, and then they say, well, I can understand why people hate Skip Bayless because of his takes. The Hamilton situation, he did not handle that very well. The back and forth with Shannon Sharpe on those last couple of seasons of Undisputed, how he disrespected Shannon Sharpe. Let's tackle the Hamilton situation. I too agree. Skip Bayless was totally, to me, that was the wrong take to have. Well, the Buffalo Bills should have continued to play while they have an injured player on the field. Okay? I didn't agree with Skip Bayless on that. But I didn't take it to the point of Skip Bayless don't care about black people. Skip Bayless don't care about NFL football players. That was just the wrong take. And I can name 1,000 other personalities that have the wrong take, have the wrong idea. But we don't just damn them and then, add subtext of labels or calling them racist and things of that nature. Okay? Let's go to the Shannon Sharpe thing. TYT Sports talked about this. Oh, well, this is just cause for Skip Bayless. He deserves to get fired because of his treatment to Shannon Sharpe. how he disrespected Shannon Sharp on the Tom Brady take, and he, in other takes as well. People seem to forget that Shannon Sharp too hit below the belt on Skip Bayless a couple of times. Maybe not in those final two seasons, but he has been taking his shots at Skip Bayless. And people seem to forget Shannon Sharp would do low blows and take hits on other NBA legends to big up LeBron James. People seem to forget all those takes Shannon Sharp has said, or all those things Shannon Sharp has said to disrespect one NBA legend just to big up another NBA legend. Obviously, Shannon Sharp has a connection with LeBron James. He's his number one fan. Obviously, there's a relationship or a business relationship with Clutch Sports and Shannon Sharp. That's fine and cool and all, but hey, let's not stand up here on our soapboxes and say Shannon Sharp hasn't said some outrageous things on Undisputed, or Shannon Sharp didn't have any outrageous takes on Undisputed, or Shannon Sharp has never lowballed anyone on Undisputed. Do anyone remember what he said about Kwame Brown? So, to TYT Sports, to the people of the TYT Sports of the world, and Marcellus Wiley was sort of, in the middle with his takes, all right? But to me, people seem to forget when you start talking about a person or a personality or a network or a show, and you talk about the good and the bad, I feel like a lot of people talk more about the bad, less about the good, and just not talk about the whole enchilada. So, as far as Skip Bayless firing goes, or being let go, or he's walking away, we all know, we can all read it between the lines. He got let go because of his performance. There's no way you're going to pay someone that type of money and you're getting so little in return in your investment. And it's a business decision, folks. These networks don't take it personal. There's no emotions about it. This is business. I said the same thing about Shannon Sharp when he got let go at Fox Sports 1. This was clearly a business decision. Now, you can agree or disagree, but it's still yet a business decision. There was no way they was going to max out Shannon Sharp. They already maxed out Skip Bayless, but you're still getting the second and third best show in that time slot. They still were not going to overtake First Take. They weren't. And then there was Pat McAfee. So now there's two shows you got to deal with. This was clearly a business move. Now, is this the right course of action? Time will tell. I've been saying no. They should have kept Shannon Sharp. They could have just gave him a different show and maxed him out and just live with the results. And if he couldn't get the ratings, if he couldn't be the First Take killer, I feel like Fox Sports 1 has high expectations that all these shows are going to hit right out the park. And I'm telling you guys, and I said this in my last video, it would not surprise me none if Fox Sports 1 regurgitates back to having rodeo at 7 in the morning. And they just scatter the rest of their programming. There's already talks that Colin Cowherd is going to leave Fox Sports 1, either to do his own thing or go back to ESPN. All right? So, only time going to tell by these decisions of letting go of Shannon Sharp, letting go of Skip Bayless, how this is going to be a domino effect to all your other personalities on Fox Sports 1. It's obviously, to me, that Fox Sports 1 is going into a different direction. They're no longer trying to compete with ESPN. There is no competition with Fox Sports 1 and ESPN. I said this 8 years ago, 9 years ago, 10 years ago. ESPN is just simply in more households than Fox Sports 1. Do the math. Even if Fox Sports 1, if they hit it out the park with every show that comes from Fox Sports 1, they still was not going to overtake ESPN in the rating. When you got Sports Center. It continues to just, have viewership. Pardon the interruption. When you have First Take, Get Up. You're always clamoring with the other leagues in some type of negotiation. ESPN is way too powerful. It's way of a bigger brand. It makes way too much money to be demised by Fox Sports 1. I'm just sorry, folks. This is all business. This is nothing personal. It wasn't, Shannon Sharpe may not have had a great relationship with the powers that be, but if Shannon Sharpe was making the money and giving them the revenue and giving them the ratings, they wouldn't care about their relationship with Shannon Sharpe. It would be business to max him out and to have him his own show. I'm telling you, Fox Sports 1 is regurgitating backwards. And they're preparing for, let's just go back to having rodeo shows at 7 in the morning. It would not surprise me none if the Carson show is seeing its last legs. And if the Herd show goes back to ESPN, First Things First probably goes back into the morning. Speak is an afternoon show. I mean, they're getting rid of shows, folks. They used to have a smorgasbord of shows. Now they only have a handful of shows. And I think they're preparing for, let's just go backwards instead of trying to push forward. Only we're 4 steps behind ESPN. There's nothing they can do about ESPN. They got Troy Aikman, Joe Buck, Pat McAfee, Shannon Sharpe, Stephen A. Smith. Now, ESPN did release a statement saying that, they wish Skip Bayless his future endeavors. They're not trying to bring Skip Bayless back to ESPN. ESPN has been known to say something but do something completely different. But I don't see a Skip Bayless and a Stephen A. Smith reforming the old magic of First Take. He might make a few appearances on First Take as a contributor, but if he wants to do that, and if ESPN's, for that to happen, all Skip Bayless has to do is pick up the phone and call Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith is not going to call Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless is going to have to pick up the phone and call Stephen A. Smith. Just like when Stephen A. Smith was wandering and was trying to find a job, trying to land somewhere, he had to pick up the phone. He had to humble himself and pick up the phone and call Skip Bayless. So, and I feel like Skip Bayless, if he wants to do that, he has no problem of doing that. But yeah, that's all I got. Probably next video we'll talk about the future of Fox Sports 1. I can go into more details about it. But guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the flip side. Deuces.